Welcome to Finance Secrets, where we uncover the invisible economic forces draining your hard-earned wallet every single day without mercy. Have you ever wondered why you earn $10, but it feels like you can only spend 5 of them? You have not lost your money, but you are paying a hidden tax that nobody ever explicitly told you about. We call this the monopoly fee, a silent surcharge added to every service you use, from banking to buying bread. Canadian mobile data prices are consistently ranked among the most expensive in the world, rivaling only Japan and South Korea. The average Canadian pays hundreds of dollars every year in banking fees just for the privilege of storing their own money. This is not an accident of the market, but a carefully designed system that extracts wealth from your pockets systematically. Today, we are going to expose the 5 major industries that hold the Canadian economy in a tight, unyielding grip. You work hard for your salary, but these corporate giants have already decided how much of it they will take. Welcome to the concept of the Golden Prison, a beautiful place where you are safe, but you are not truly free. Let us dive deep into the mechanics of the Canadian tax and understand why your cost of living is so high. Imagine Canada as a playground where the government builds a high fence saying only 5 kids can sell candy here. They tell us this is for our safety, to ensure that no bad actors can come in and ruin the market. This is the great trade-off, where we sacrifice fierce competition and lower prices in exchange for extreme economic stability. Economists use the HHI index to measure market concentration, and in Canada, the needle points directly to the danger zone. Foreign ownership limits act as a shield, preventing international companies from entering and challenging the dominance of local giants. These laws usually limit foreign ownership to around 25%, effectively acting as a protective charm for domestic corporations. The government argues that this protectionism keeps our jobs safe and our industries immune to global financial volatile shocks. But the price of this peace is that you have fewer choices and pay significantly higher prices than your neighbors. When you compare the cost of living, you realize that stability has become a luxury product that you are forced to buy. You are living in a golden prison, comfortable enough to stay, but expensive enough to keep you working forever. The shield that protects the industry from collapse is the same structure that traps the consumer in high prices. For the corporations inside the wall, this is not a prison, it is a paradise of guaranteed profits and minimal effort. They do not need to innovate or compete aggressively because the government has ensured they have no real enemies to fight. Small businesses struggle to survive in this environment, while the giants grow larger and more powerful with each passing year. This wealth transfer is constant, invisible, and completely legal, embedded into the very fabric of the Canadian economic system. Most Canadians are unaware of this reality, accepting high fees as a normal part of life in the North. Now it is time to break down the 5 pillars of this system, starting with the most powerful of them all. We begin our investigation with the financial titans that hold the keys to the entire Canadian economy, the Big Six. These institutions are not just banks, they are the engines that drive the nation, and they are incredibly profitable. RBC, TD, Scotiabank, BMO, CIBC, and National Bank. Together, they control over 90% of all banking assets in Canada. Think of them as massive reservoirs. No matter where you try to send your money, it eventually flows to them. Their combined net income often reaches $60 billion a year, a staggering amount generated from fees and interest. In the United States, there are thousands of banks fighting for customers. In Canada, the choices are incredibly limited. This oligopoly allows them to charge higher monthly fees and offer lower interest rates on savings than competitive markets. However, there is a reason for this. During the 2008 global financial crisis,
Not a single Canadian bank failed. The Canadian government prioritizes the safety of the system over the wallet of the individual consumer. We call this the safety trade-off. You pay a premium every month to ensure that your money never disappears overnight. It's a peace of mind that comes with a hefty price tag deducted automatically from your account each month. Credit card interest rates and service fees here are among the highest, generating billions in risk-free revenue for the banks. They are essentially money-printing machines that operate silently in the background of your life, taking a cut of everything. You cannot participate in the modern economy without them. They are the gatekeepers, and the toll fee is mandatory. Even when the economy slows down and families struggle, the lights in these towers never dim and profits never cease. For the average Canadian, this is just the cost of doing business, a silent acceptance of the status quo. Ironically, the best way to beat them is to join them, as their stocks pay reliable dividends to shareholders. But for those who cannot afford to invest, the Big Six remains a constant drain on their limited financial resources. They are everywhere, on every street corner, in every mall, reminding you that they own the flow of money. This system is designed to be impenetrable. You cannot easily switch to a better option because there are none. They do not fight each other to the death. They coexist in a comfortable oligopoly that benefits them all equally. Bay Street is the Wall Street of Canada, but with fewer players and much higher walls protecting the insiders. So next time you see a fee on your statement, remember, you are paying rent to live in the golden prison. Money flows up, not down, and in Canada, it flows directly into the vaults of the Big Six. But banking is not the only sector draining your funds. Let's look at the service you use every minute. We now enter the domain of the Telecom Trinity, the three giants that control the digital air you breathe. Rogers, Bell, and Telus. These three giants control approximately 88% of the wireless market share in this country. In the digital age, connectivity is like oxygen, and in Canada, these three companies own your oxygen supply tanks. Their profit margins are staggering, often exceeding 40%, which is significantly higher than carriers in the US or Europe. The merger between Rogers and Shaw in 2023 was a historic moment that made the market even more concentrated.
Despite public outcry and concerns about competition, the deal went through, proving the power of these corporate giants. You pay more for less. It is a simple equation that defines the Canadian telecommunications experience for every subscriber. Every gigabyte of data you use generates pure profit for the Trinity, funding their media empires and sports teams. Even the cheaper brands like Fido or Kudo are just flanker brands owned by the Big Three to create illusions. It is the illusion of choice. You think you are switching to a competitor, but you are just moving to another pocket. Internet and home phone services follow the same pattern, leaving Canadians with some of the highest bills in the developed world. They argue that Canada is huge and expensive to wire, which is true, but it does not fully explain the profits. Countries like Australia face similar geographical challenges, yet manage to offer their citizens much more affordable connectivity options. With the rollout of 5G, their grip on the market is only tightening, requiring massive infrastructure that only they can afford. Foreign giants like Verizon have tried to enter Canada in the past, but were effectively scared off by regulatory hurdles. So your smartphone is not just a device, it is a premium ticket to the most exclusive digital club on Earth. Every text, every call, and every stream feeds the beast, keeping the Telecom Trinity wealthy and powerful. But what about the most essential need of all? Food. Surely there must be competition when it comes to eating. Welcome to the grocery cartel, where three major companies decide the price of your dinner every single night. Loblaw, Sobeys, and Metro. These three giants control more than 60% of all food retail sales in Canada. They are the gatekeepers of the food supply. If you eat in Canada, you are likely paying one of them. Remember the bread price-fixing scandal? For 14 years, they colluded to artificially inflate the price of bread.
This is the smoking gun that proves when there are too few players, they shake hands instead of competing for you. They have mastered vertical integration. Loblaw doesn't just sell food, they own the trucks, the brands, and the bank. Their private labels, like President's Choice, dominate the shelves, giving them total control over margins and supply chains. You can try to shop around, but you will often find that prices move in perfect unison across all major chains. They have become the villains of inflation, recording record profits while Canadians struggle to afford basic groceries. Food inflation has consistently outpaced general inflation, leading to accusations of greedflation by angry consumers and politicians. Suppliers and farmers are also squeezed, forced to pay fees just to get their products onto the cartel's shelves. Independent grocers are disappearing, unable to match the scale and logistics of the big three. In many communities, especially in rural Canada, there is literally only one option, giving that store absolute pricing power. They lock you in with loyalty programs, making you feel like you are saving while they harvest your personal data. They know what you eat, when you buy it, and exactly how much you are willing to pay for it. The grocery cartel sits at your dinner table every night, an uninvited guest that eats a portion of your meal. If you think you can escape this by flying away, think again. The sky is also controlled territory. Look up and you will find the airline duopoly, where competition goes to die and ticket prices soar to the moon. Air Canada and WestJet. These two carriers dominate the domestic market, leaving little room for anyone else to survive. We've seen low-cost carriers like Swoop and Lynx Air try to enter the market only to go bankrupt or vanish. It is often cheaper to fly from Toronto to London, England, than it is to fly from Toronto to Vancouver. Why? Because Canada has some of the highest airport fees in the world, which are passed directly to you. Canadian airports operate as non-profit entities but charge massive rents to pay for their own expensive infrastructure upgrades. This creates a hostile environment for budget airlines, which cannot afford the high landing fees and terminal charges. So Air Canada and WestJet remain the kings of the sky, comfortable in their duopoly and protected by high barriers. For a country so vast, affordable air travel should be a right, but instead it is treated as a luxury. But there is one more monopoly, one that is invisible to most, but moves the entire physical economy of the nation. Meet the invisible railroad, the backbone of the supply chain, and perhaps the most unbreakable monopoly of them all. CN and CPKC. These two companies own the tracks that transport grains, cars, oil, and goods across the continent. This is a natural monopoly. You cannot simply build a third railway system across the Rocky Mountains or through cities.
CPKSC is now the only single-line railway connecting Canada, the United States, and Mexico, giving it immense strategic power. They hold the economy hostage. If the trains stop, the country stops. If they raise prices, everyone pays. When they increase shipping rates by just 1%, the price of everything from lumber to bread creeps up. This is inflation at the source. Before the product even reaches the shelf, it has already been taxed by the railroad. So there you have it. 5 industries, 5 oligopolies, all working together to define the cost of being Canadian. This is the Canadian Compact. It is not a free market in the American sense, it is a managed market. The question is, are you willing to pay more to live in a system that is designed never to crash? While we cannot change the system overnight, there are ways to navigate this maze and reclaim some of your wealth. First, explore online banks like EQ Bank or Wealthsimple. They have lower overheads and often offer much better interest rates. Second, use the flanker brands for telecom. You get the same network quality for a fraction of the premium price. Third, understand that investing in these monopolies is the most effective way to get your fees back through dividends. If you cannot beat the house, buy a piece of the casino. That is the secret to surviving the Canadian economy. We have traveled through the hidden layers of the economy, exposing the giants that silently tax your daily existence. If you live in Canada, comment below with your monthly phone bill amount so we can all share the pain together. Knowledge is your best defense against the hidden fees of the world. Stay informed, stay smart, and stay wealthy. Thank you for watching Finance Secrets. Subscribe now to unlock more economic mysteries and take control of your financial future.